Whales and dolphins. They're probably a lot more important to the Earth's ecosystem than a lot of people realize. I won't go into the details now, but you should look into it. And if you're familiar with Hidizs, if you're familiar with Chi-Fi, that is, you probably know Hidizs. They're makers of excellent DAPs and IEMs. Now, they have partnered with the WDC, which is the Whale and Dolphin Conservation. I guess it's a society. I don't know exactly what to call it, but they're partnering with them or collaborating with them for this release, which is the MP145 planar magnetic driver IEMs. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. So definitely, look, if you care about the planet and the other creatures that inhabit it alongside us humans, then, you know, you should take extra attention or pay extra attention to this review or this, at least this product. So this is the Hidizs MP145 planar magnetic IEMs. The price, well, actually at the moment it's on Kickstarter and you can pick it up for $139, but the full MSRP will be $199. So if you want to get these, it's best to jump on them right now while that sale or that special price is on. So we're inside of here, we've got, well, inside of the IEMs, they've got a 14.5 millimeter ultra large planar magnetic driver, and yeah, let's get on with it. So that's the box. Inside, it's got another box, but inside there, whoops, sorry about that noise, we've got this, and this puzzled me for quite a while. I wasn't sure if it was like some kind of ornament or what, and I looked in there, I'm like, they're filters, but how do you get the damn thing open? I couldn't open it. Took me a while to figure out. You just untwist it like that, and inside are some nozzles or tuning filters, because the MP145 comes with 3 sets of tuning filters. In addition to those, you get a little customized carrying pouch. It's quite a nice one, actually. Look at that. It's pretty spiffy. But this is kind of more exciting for the pure audiophile in me, and that is a wide selection of various ear tips. I love to see that. So plenty of different sizes, plenty of different types, and the large ones are actually large enough for my ears. Thank you, Hidizs. Appreciate that very much. But now let's have a look at the actual IEMs, and there they are. Now these IEMs, what's special about these, the design was inspired by the tail or whale tails and the, oh, I've forgotten the name, let me tell you, rorqual pleats. And if you've seen images or videos of whales, you probably can see where the inspiration came from for the rorqual pleats. So yeah, inspired by whales. They've got a couple of what they call secret vents there and there, and that's pretty cool. There is one little issue. I'll bring it up now. These can be a little bit noisy when you're in strong wind. So if you, for whatever reason, if you're out in a strong wind, these open vents, on the hidden vents there, they pick up a bit of noise. But yeah, these are the shells. They're fairly large, but when they're in the ear, or in my ears at least, they're very comfortable, and I can wear these for hours on end without any discomfort. The build quality is really nice. They're exquisitely crafted, made from aviation grade aluminium alloy. And those filters that I mentioned, they just go on like so. So that's what a filter looks like. That's what the open nozzle looks like. And they just screw on like so. So yeah, really nice build quality, pretty cool design, very comfortable. Let's have a look at the cable now. Now this is a high quality silver plated copper cable. It's available with either a 4.4 meter balanced termination like this one, or a 3.5 millimeter single ended or unbalanced termination. It's a 0.78mm 2-pin connectors. And yeah, it's a nice cable. It handles really nicely. It doesn't have any microphonics. It's got all metal components. It's got a chin slider. So yeah, nice cable. Before we move on to the sound, if you like what you're seeing here, go ahead and hit that like button. And you know, if you are interested in audio gear, consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a lot. Now back to the IEMs and onto the sound. And you know, the first thing I noticed when I listened to the MP145 here was their organic sound, a very organic sort of sound that they have, a very natural and earthy sound. And I feel like the MP145 is a fairly honest IEM. It's fairly transparent. It doesn't add any of its own coloration. It's just a sort of pretty accurate representation of the original recording. Our one standout feature that caught my attention is the extended frequency response. It demonstrates finesse in producing both the high and low frequencies with precision, and furthermore, its ability to handle higher volume levels without any distortion sort of adds to the allure, and that results in a cleaner and a more immersive experience. And that is a trait of those planar magnetic drivers. And the soundstage created by these, I'm sort of doing things in the reverse order today, but the soundstage is quite expansive. That is another common feature with planar magnetic drivers. So the width and the depth are both pretty good on these, especially the width. And what's commendable is how these achieve that stage without relying on an overly bright treble. Instead, it sort of crafts a sense of spaciousness and separation between instruments and vocals, which is largely owing to the speed of those planar drivers. And it's that the speed of the transients and the black background that really helps sort of make the stage feel more expansive and spread out. So just circling back to these filters for a second. Look, I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with nozzle filters like this. What usually happens, and it's happened again here, is that some of the filters sound pretty much identical. And in this case, it's the silver and the gold filters. In a blind test, I'm not certain I could tell the difference. However, the red filters definitely do have their own distinct sound signature. They have a little bit less bass and less upper, mid-range and treble presence. And personally, I probably wouldn't ever resort to the red filters because the sound signature of the MP145 here, it's basically kind of warm and it is buttery smooth. If anything, I would like a little bit more energy in the high frequencies or in the treble, just similar to the BASN MT Pro that I reviewed recently, which is also a planar magnetic IEM. These could do with a little bit more energy in the highs, but however, despite that, the overall resolution is excellent and the detail retrieval is excellent. Now let's talk about the bass real quick. Actually, I'll throw up the graph now. It can produce those really low sub-bass notes. It does give you a nice feeling of a sense of authority and power, but the actual quantity of the bass is quite balanced in relation to the mid-range and the treble, but they really do have a nice controlled bass with good extension that can reach really deep. And in addition to that, the bass has got an inherent sense of speed again because of the planar drivers, so it can capture the most subtle nuances and it's really quick on the transients, but it does all of that without drowning out the other elements like the mid-range and the treble. It's very balanced overall. Then in terms of the mid-range, the MP145's mid-range is a storyteller extraordinaire, painting intricate musical narratives with each note. Vocals and instruments step out onto the stage with an authenticity that's somewhat rare at this price range, and by authenticity I mean the timbre and the tone and the very black background that the mid-range sort of emanates from. Now, this mid-range is all about naturalness in both tone and note size, and what's really impressive is how sort of cohesive the mids are in terms of the overall frequency response. Like from top to bottom, these have a very cohesive sound, somewhat akin to a single dynamic driver, if you will. So in short, the mid-range here is a symphony of realism and balance. And then finally is the treble. And the treble is as silky as a moonlit river. It sort of flows with grace and poise. It's very smooth. And what sets it apart is it is super smooth and devoid of any sharpness or sibilance. And really, this treble is like a maestro of subtlety. It sounds effortless. It's got this gentle touch to it. The absence of sharpness or sibilance ensures that even the most intricate musical details are unveiled without a hint of harshness. It's a treble that complements the mid-range and the bass really well, resulting in that cohesiveness that I was talking about. And despite being quite laid back and subdued in the treble, the detail retrieval still is very, very good. However, like I said before, personally, I would like a little bit more bite and a little bit more energy in the treble, but I'm just nitpicking here. But if you are treble sensitive, no need to worry here. These are like velvety smooth. They are chocolate and butter mixed together. You know what I'm trying to say. All right, time for a couple of comparisons. The first one is the BASN MT Pro, which I reviewed recently. So I forgot to pull the box down before I started recording, so I'm not going to do it now. Let me just run through it real quick. The MT Pro is warmer. It's got more mid-bass presence and more fullness and richness in the lower mids. And as a result, the MP145 sounds a little bit more, it has a bit more finesse and lightness to it. I think these are more accurate in terms of overall tonality, whereas the MT Pro has a bit of coloration to it. But for those looking for that a little bit of extra bass or leaning towards bass head, you probably prefer the MT Pro, whereas here the bass is excellent in quality but fairly balanced in terms of quantity. And then we'll look at the Let Shure S12 here, and these have a very different presentation from the Hidizs MP145. The S12 here, it's got much more of a high fidelity kind of sound and tuning to it. It's got a crisper treble. It's got even faster transients and thinner note size. Some people do find the treble a little bit bright and harsh on the S12 here, but trust me, you will not feel that way about the MP145 whatsoever. It's got the smoothest treble you've ever heard. So the S12 is a little bit more exciting. It's a little bit more spicy, if you will. Overall, I probably prefer the S12, and I think it's actually a little bit cheaper than the MSRP of the MP145. So if it were up to me, if I were choosing for myself, I would choose the Let Shure. But having said that, I do really appreciate the cause that Hidizs is going for with the MP145, which is that collaboration with the whale and dolphin conservation. But circling back to the Hidizs MP145, look, at the early bird price, the Kickstarter price of $139, these are definitely a very safe bet, especially if you're looking for something that is very smooth and slightly warm with no harsh treble whatsoever. At the full MSRP, which I believe will be $199, that is a little bit harder of a sell. Look, I think they still hold up considering the quality of the cable, accessories, the IEM, the resolution, the detail retrieval. It just really depends what kind of sound signature that you're looking for. So if you're looking for an IEM that's very honest in its approach without any added coloration or any extra spice added, these are pretty awesome. You can turn up the music really loud if that's your thing, you know, if that's your jam. You can turn up the music really loud, and even still you will not be hearing any harshness or sharpness in the highs. There's no upper mid-range shoutiness. The bass response is excellent. It's really, really nice. So overall, these are a good IEM, especially now, like I keep saying, at that introductory price. So I'm going to wrap it up there. That's the Hidizs MP145. Yep, check out the links down below for the Kickstarter. And yeah, thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, Parfam audiophile style. If you're new here and you want to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you later.